The Greek impact on modern medicine and the pharmaceutical industry can be felt in a strong way to this very day, not just in the term pharmaceutical or pharmacy, but also by the very fact that the father of modern medicine is Hippocrates of Kos. He was a Greek physician. He is regarded to be one of the most outstanding and influential figures throughout the history of modern medicine. Historians seem to agree that Hippocrates was born sometime around the year 460 BC. His contributions to modern medicine include the use of prognosis, clinical observation, and the systematic categorization of diseases. He is also credited with greatly advancing the systematic study of clinical medicine, which is pharmakia. The Hippocratic school of medicine, or pharmakia, saw Greek medicine as a discipline that was distinct from all the other fields and is credited with establishing medicine as a profession. To this very day, graduates in the medical profession and others in the medical community make common use of the Hippocratic oath. The Hippocratic oath is an oath of ethics taken by physicians for over 2,000 years. It is the most widely known and circulated Greek medical and religious text. In the original Greek, it requires a new physician to swear by a number of healing deities to uphold various standards dealing with the overall morality and ethics of the initiate. The original Greek document starts, "I swear by Apollo, the physician, and Asclepius, and Hygeia, and Panacea, and all the gods and goddesses, making them my witnesses, that I will fulfill according to my ability and judgment this oath and this covenant." The oldest partial fragments of the oath date to about 275 AD. The oldest full-length version dates to roughly the 10th or 11th century and is held in the Vatican's library, and that is not a surprise. But we see today the oath takes out the name of Apollo and Asclepius and Hygeia and Panacea and instead just says, "I swear." But according to the ancient mystery religions, that's fine. As long as there was an oath originally to the deity, you can leave out his name. So when they give this modified version of the Hippocratic oath, yes, today they've left out Apollo. Some of them still will use it, however, but some of them have left it out. And okay, so basically people think that that means, oh, they took out the paganism. All the paganism has been removed from the medical community. No, that's a joke. That's so silly. No. Again, in the mystery schools, it is perfectly acceptable in paganism to leave the deity's name out of the oath. This is still an oath to Apollo. Now, the book of Revelation mentions Apollo by name. In the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 11, we read, "And they have over them a sovereign, the messenger, the malach, or people call it angel, of the pit, of the deep, whose name is in Hebrew is Abaddon. But in Greek, he has the name Apollyon or Apollyon. Apollyon is a play on Apollo's title as destroyer, which is Apollon. Some copies of the book of Revelation simply just say Apollo. Apollo is closely related to Helios, the solar deity of the Greeks, along with Sol and Mithra. This was well understood and received in the ancient world, as we see in the description at Nimrod Dag, where the single sculpture of Apollo bears the names Apollo, Mithras, Helios, and Hermes, all being famous solar deities born on the winter solstice around December 25th and claiming to resurrect, a counterfeit to the true Messiah. In certain variations of mythology, Apollo and Mithras seem to basically be a title of Helios. Apollo is thought to have perhaps come to Greece through the Phoenicians via the worship of Baal or Baal, the very one that is mentioned in the scriptures. In the Greek mythology, Apollo was a son of Zeus and even rivaled Zeus in his position as chief of the Greek deities. Apollo was not just a solar deity, however, but he was the chief physician, a healing deity above all others. In fact, there were no other healing deities in the ancient world, that is, until Apollo conceived a son through a human princess named Coronis, whose masculine form of the name is Corona. The feminine is Coronis. That's an interesting connection. Genesis, Bereshith chapter 6, talks about these connections of these fallen deities mixing with humans, except they are actually fallen messengers, malachim, or what people call angels. Genesis 6 verse 4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of Elohim came to the daughters of men and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. All cultures relate a narrative when the supposed gods came down and mated with human women. This narrative in the scriptures is a bit different, of course, as again, these were not so-called gods, even though they could fool people, but rather they were fallen angels or malachim, messengers. The very term Nephilim, which refers to their offspring, which were human hybrids, literally means fallen ones. This is referenced even further in the book of Enoch, that tells us that the fallen ones taught humans medicine or pharmakia, war, weapons, abortion, and ultimately enslaved humanity, and would even eat humans and drink their blood for sacrifice. This narrative relates to all civilizations in the past, from ancient Mesoamerica all the way to Mesopotamia, the Near East to the very Far East. The four corners of the earth seem to be steeped in the worship of these Nephilim beings. It really does seem that all over the world, religion is personified in the worship of these fallen ones. In ancient Israel, Apollo would have been known as Baal Shamash. These names may have changed as the places and people changed, the geography and the times changed. However, the essential story seems to remain similar enough all over the world to see that this indeed, something to this effect, took place. And this is these men of name. That is where these myths from Greece and Rome come about the deities having wives that were humans and having demigods such as Hercules, or in this case, Apollo has his son Asclepius. Now, some variations of the myth say that Apollo just brought forth his son all on his own without the need of a human consort. That part doesn't really matter, but what does matter is the son of Apollo was known as Asclepius. Though he was originally counted as a mortal, he was eventually deified and worshipped amongst the other deities at Mount Olympus. Asclepius was thought to have left behind an earthly line of physicians. In fact, Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, is actually said to be a direct descendant of Asclepius. The staff of Asclepius is the most used symbol for medicine and health in the entire world. In fact, we see the World Health Organization's symbol is in fact the staff of Asclepius imposed over the entire world, which gives us several meanings. First of all, this staff of Asclepius represents pharmakia. Therefore, it shows us that pharmakia rules over the world. Not only this, but it shows the serpent. And it was who? That serpent of old who deceived the whole world. And how? Using what? Sorcery, which is the pharmacy, the pharmaceutical. Big Pharma has deceived the entire world by the means of the staff of the son of Apollo. We must decide, will we bow to the staff of the son of Apollo, or will we bow to the staff of the great creator of heaven and earth, whose name is YaHuWaH, the Elohim of Israel.